Welcome back everyone to our smartphone graphic design course tutorial. My name is Clement Akovujo from Age Multi-Concepts, and in this video we will be designing a logo with Pixellab. I am very sure that you have been hoping to learn how all these logos you see flying around online are created, and I will bet you that your waiting wasn't in vain. I can assure you that this is the part where this training gets interesting. So come along with me. Now, a logo is a peculiar shape, text, symbol, or a combination of all these properties used together, put together to use and identify a business venture. And in creating a logo, there are 3 stages to the process. One of those stages is getting inspiration. Before you start creating a logo, just like any other design in graphics, you have to go and source for ideas, imagine what you're trying to create, what is the message you're trying to send across with your creativity, your design. And the easiest way for you to get ideas for your project, for your job, is to go on Google, like I earlier explained in one of our previous video. Go on Google, search for jobs that other people have done already, jobs that relate to what you are about to create, so that you can compare and have an idea of what essentially you want to create. Now, for instance, let's say we want to create a laundry logo. The best way to get inspiration is to go online, search for logo designs, and you will get the result for designs, logo designs created by other designers from time past. Some businesses have these color attributes, like in medicine. You will find out that most medicine flyers have a touch of green, blue, and all that. You get to know what colors to put into your design, as well as the ideas that is required for that particular kind of creativity. Now, also remember that when in creating a logo, you want to create a logo that relates to the particular business you're creating the logo for. For instance, when you're creating a logo for a laundry business, you want the logo to speak for itself even before the details of the business is even mentioned. Before you get to the details of that particular business, the logo has already given you hints as to what it represents. Now, you cannot, a good laundry logo cannot be used to represent, for instance, a bakery business. We all know that in laundries has to do with clothings, hangers, and all that, while bakery business has to do with cakes, bread loaves, all that, chefs, and all. So your logo has to represent categorically the kind of business you're creating it for. So now, another thing I want you to know is that in putting together your logo, there are properties that, instead of you going to start creating your logo all the way from the scratch, designing, planning, that would take you weeks, months, in this age, it has been made easier by certain websites, like some of the websites I already explained in our previous video about design assistants, graphic design assistants, online graphic design assistant, that has to do with websites and particular resources that you can get from them for your design. Now, if you remember in that course, I talked about Ape Mockup for getting your mockup, and I even talked about Pinktree and other sites where you can download or PNG3, where you can download your PNG files that you can incorporate into your designs. So Most of this work, like the properties I sent to you, I dropped in the group earlier for you to download. Most of them I got, the mockup was gotten from Ape Mockup, and while the images, the ornamental circle and all that we are gotten from PNG3. So let's start our job, our logo now, and see how all this can be done. Okay. Also remember that as we cannot build our logo without having that kind of the type of business we want to build it for in mind. So today we're going to build a logo for a bakery business. So let's go and see how it goes. Now the second stage is designing our logo, which is the second stage of the process. You That is the actual part where we engage, we start designing whatever we want to create from the beginning till when we're done with it. And now, remember, we are going to be creating a bakery logo. So what we do first is to import a sample of it. Like I said, for this tutorial, I've already created this logo, but I want to bring it into the screen so that we can all see, have an idea of this, how this logo, what it looks like, and then we recreate the same logo all over again for learning purposes. So let's go and import this logo. So I go into my phone gallery and I will import this logo. Okay, here we have it. Pixellab. Okay, this is the logo. So we import this into our Pixellab and start our creation. Let's remember the one-to-one ratio. Click on it, and when our work is set, adjust it the way you want it, and then import it by clicking OK. Now we have our job on our screen, the finished product of our job. So when you look at it, you see this is Mona's Loaf in a taste of its own. They are into bread, cake, small chops, snacks, and many more. Their address is 3rd Avenue, Gwarimpa, Abuja, FCT, and their phone number is displayed. I want you to understand that this is an imaginary business logo. This business does not exist so far, except if somebody wants me to brand their bakery business for them, and I can as well just sell this to them. It's lucrative business because every idea, remember, information is power. So every idea that you create can always be applied for you to make money. Now let's start by designing our logo. Let's bring in the ornamental circle that is round there. So we go to the gallery, wherever you have saved yours, the one you downloaded from the group earlier, just import it into the screen. Right now, we'll be importing we'll be importing the ornamental circle. So in this case, let me search for it. Please bear with me while I search for it. Bear with me. Logo design. It had something to do with a logo logo tutorial. Okay, now I have it here. So this is it. Just click on it, apply the one-to-one ratio to it, and then I import it into my job. Now let's reduce the sample image so that we can have a clear view of what we're trying to do. Now, for my screen, remember I'm using the pro version of Pixellab, so I'll just go over to the background button and change the color to, for now, let me change the color to white. Yes, so that we can be able to see what we are creating here, so that you can be able to see it clearly. Now let's reduce this. We already have a sample. This is the finished job of what we're going to create right now. So let's get to it. Now, this is our ornamental circle. Now, if you look at this and you look at the image, the sampled image, you discover that there is another bold circle inside this ornamental circle, but it is not here. We are going to create that circle here and now. So what do we do? First of all, let's centralize our circle here by clicking on the shape tool and then resizing it with the centralizing it with the relative positioning tool. Now, let's import shape into this design by clicking on shape. And this time around, we want a round shape or a circle shape. So we click on the window and click on circle. And now we have it. It's there. It's white. But because we can't, because the background is white, you can't see it. So let's apply a color to it. Let's give it let's give it a black, sorry. Let's go to color. Here is color, and let's enable color and give it. Remember, the default color is red. Let's change that to black. Now we can see our circle. Now let's increase it the way we want it to be inside this ornamental circle, and while we ensure that it is centralized also, so that we can have a perfect job there. Yes, so you increase the size. What I did was to increase the size. Now remember that if we do not lock our layers, our images or materials there will be moving about. So let's go and lock them up by locking the circle and the ornamental circle. Now we have them there. Okay, so now we're working on the circle. Now we need to remember it wasn't just that bold, so we need to create the circle, a round circle, not one that is filled with color, but one that has a round line around it. So let's go to copy and copy the circle. Now you remember when you copy, it duplicates the material exactly for you. Now our second circle, let's change the color to white. Go to the color tool, use the color tool and change the color to white and bring it to the center. Now, for the purpose of this tutorial, we'll be using the tool so that you get used to these tools as we use them instead of using shortcuts. So let me go to the relative positioning, centralize it, and you see it is directly on top of the previous, the black circle that we copied. Now, but I don't want it to be like that. So what I'm going to do is to reduce this copied circle, which is white now, which we just attributed the white color to, so that it will be smaller than the inner circle or the circle underneath. Now let's centralize that too, and you'll see that we'll have a perfect outline or frame around them. Wow, that is exactly what we want. See, now it looks like we have a black line, a black circle around inside the ornamental circle. Isn't that beautiful? Now, I want you to understand that these circles, for us to make this circle, I want to show you something. Because the background is white, we cannot see the difference in here. So let me change this background to a different color other than white that can show us what we're doing. Now you can see that. Now our background is yellow. You can see that we now have the white circle on top of this black circle inside the black circle. Now, this is the point where you're going to learn another skills also in designing with Pixellab. Remember that this ornamental circle that is roundabout here, sorry, let me return this the way it was, that is roundabout here, that is this, is a PNG formatted material. It is already in PNG format, but our circle is in JPG format. Now, how do we make it convert into PNG? Because we want it to be transparent. Simply, we go to our layer tool, click on layer, and then we'll find both circles up there, right? Come down here, all the way down here to where there's this mark sign and then the the cancel sign, and then click on it. Now you see you have options. Click on the button that is at the center of it. That is the merge button. When you click on it, it wants to, okay, before you click on it, you see the moment you click on that earlier button, you now have all these with the selected box, all this box to select from. So we click on both circles uh, boxes, both circles select boxes, and then we come down to the center button, which is the merge button. We click on it. Are you sure you want to merge the selected objects? Yes. So let's click OK. Immediately, our objects, the two circles, have been merged into one. Now, because the other circle that is under is black, you can see it has outlined the inner circle with the that is white with the black image. That's what we want, is that's black. We don't care about the white color. So how do we turn this image now? See, it's now moving around. They are now together. So let's centralize it. And then how do we move this image now? Or how do we transform this image into a PNG image? Simply, all we need to go is scroll to the right and look for erase color here. Now, this erase color, click on erase color and enable it. Go up, go up, go up, go up. Now, this erase color shows you that, okay, now I want to show you something. Let me start all over again. When you click on this erase color, now, the moment you click on it, the first function it does, the default functions it perform, is to delete any color that is white in the highlighted image. So because we have white at the center of our circle here, it is going to delete the white part of the circle. So that is what the erase color tool does in its default mode. It deletes any color in a highlighted image that is white. Any color, any white color in a highlighted image, it automatically deletes it. If it's other colors, then you have to use the eyedropper tool, put it on the image for it to delete it. Now, this is it. So the moment we enable it, you can see that our color has disappeared. So what do? We click OK. When you play around with this particular tool, and you will actually be impressed by how it functions. So now you see our formerly JPG image has now become a transparent image, because it's only the round black frame now that is there. So you see, just like the ornamental circle, this inner circle too now is transparent, and that is what we want. So having achieved that, let's lock it up by clicking lock. And then we will have to, sometimes after using the erase color tool, you might find that at the edge of it, there might be some other color outline. Go to color and change it to the color we want it to be. In this case, we want it to remain black. So we can make it all black. You see, it's at default, it changed to red, but let's make it black. Now, whatever outline that is there now is totally black. The next thing we want to import is the vector image of the bread loaf. Now let's go to our gallery and import that image. It's already in a PNG format, so if you look at this preview, you'll see that the background is transparent. It's this transparent background, so it means that it's a transparent file. So apply the 1:1 ratio and then import it. Now here it is, we have imported into our file. And what do we want to do? Like it is in our sample image, we want to place it at the center of this image nicely done in a way that it will be it will look perfect for the image, the logo we're trying to create. So we reduce it by using the resizing shortcut option, and resize it to how we want it to sit inside the circle. And that is it. We have it inside our circle. So let's centralize it there too. so that everything will be perfect. Now, that is done. Let's go and lock it up. Having locked it up, what next do we need to bring in again? Okay. Now, in this case here, we want the next thing to do right now, we want to put the name, impute the name into our logo, right? Okay. Now, there are different things we can do with this logo. Before we start bringing the names in or typing the letters, bringing in the text, let's be done with the image. Let's be sure we have done. Let's design the shapes first. When we're done designing the shapes, then we can impute our text. Okay. So what do? We have two options here. We can merge all this or we merge some. But in this case, I just want to merge the ornamental outer circle with the round circle, the black round circle frame, and leave the bread loaf vector aside. Let's merge those circles by going to the layer section, coming down here to click on the button and select the objects we want to merge by clicking both circle and then hit the merge button and press OK. Automatically, our object has been merged. The reason why I don't want to merge all of them together at once, when you look at this, the color for the logo design here, you find that the color is not a uniform color. It is somehow gradient. So there is a way I want to apply the color to this logo. I want to apply it a different way to the shield that is around it now. This ornamental shield now, because it's now a shield because of we have merged both objects, and then I want to apply the color, color texture to it because we're going to import the color externally from our gallery. We're not going to use the Pixellab available colors or to create a gallery. I want something that will have a texture that will look grainy like a bread. You okay? So that's what we're going to use. So let's get to it. First of all, as usual, we have to centralize our job, yes, so that there is no, the moment you merge objects, they have in free mode, they can move all about. So all you have to do is when you after merging, you centralize them or place them, align them to the position you want them to be and lock it up, lock them up. So here we have locked it up now. But if we look at this, our bread loaf is really not sitting at the center, right? Is there a problem here? Okay. Well, however it is, we're going to reshape it to fit in at the center. At the center. Probably we will do that now. Let's just do that now by moving. Okay. Oh, 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 oh. Yes. I think this is good. Yes. Well, ensure that you centralize your job as you're creating it also. But you have an idea what we're trying to do here. So what do? Let's highlight the shield and import the color. Now, before we import the color, I want you to see it clearly. So let's go back to our white background and apply it to the background. Apply the color white to the background, yes. So now that we have our color back, the white color back, let's go to texture, the texture tool for the shape, and then import the color texture we want to use. You can see it here, or I just click on it, and then if I want a particular aspect of this image, I will just select it and it will apply to as color for my image. But I want all those parts. I want the darker side to be at the edges and then the lighter side to be at the center. As a matter of fact, what we are doing is working on is a PNG file, so it will just apply symmetrically. Now let's just apply it like that. Now you can see that our shield has assumed the color texture that we imported. Now, what do? Let me play around in adjustment. Okay, I think it's better I let that be. I maintain the ratio. I disabled the maintain ratio. That is good for me. Good. So I go off it. Now we have applied our color to our shield, right? Let's design our shield first. Let's be done with our shield, then we'll go to the bread vector inside. So what do we do next? Okay, we apply 3D images. Okay, let's go to 3D. Okay, this is 3D. Let's 3D shape. Let's enable. Now, the moment you enable the what's it called? It's the depth increases. But do we really want an increased depth? Nah. Let's take it all around. Or let's make our depth 2. 2 is nice. Let's leave it at 2. Okay. And then let's scroll down and rotate. No, we don't rotate yet. We are not rotating yet. Let's set the light for our, or let's use the, okay, we can leave it like this. Click OK. And let's apply shadow to it, right? So we enable shadow. Yes, you can see the shadow inside. What we're going to do is we're going to offset the shadow to the left and downward by reducing the value, to like maybe minus 28. Minus 28 is too much, I think. I don't want the shadow to be too apparent. So what do we do next? We use the offset, the y-axis offset, to bring it down. Bring the shape down. Okay, no, bring the shadow, I mean. Okay, I think we have it the way I want it to look like. And that is it. Now, if you look at it, because of the shadow underneath, it has darkened our the shape somehow. But if we don't want the radio because the shadow is in a blur, we can just remove the blur and you see, at least we can see our shape a bit better under. Yes. Okay. That is good. That is good. Now the next thing, we want to ascertain that does not affect the inner shape that is there. Let's go back to that shadow and, what is this? Sorry, I went to stroke instead of shadow. Okay. Yes. Let's increase the X offset back in. Let's increase the value. Yes. Yes. And then still increase the value downward here. Except that we will not want it to be too emphasized. Okay, that is good for me. Then the next thing we want to work on right now is we want to work on the bread loaf shape. So let's click highlight it and then we have it there. Let's apply the color texture to it too. Now, okay, we go to texture and import that same color texture into it. Now, we want to import it. Okay, let's import it and see how it looks. Yes, I think that's good. It's looking better. So you see, I did a different thing entirely. What I'm trying to do with that shape is going to look different from the shield itself. I mean, from the round circle, ornamental circle itself. So now if you look at the round ornamental circle, it seems like as if it's a live object now from the way I've designed it. And it is not directly on the wall, but you can see the shadows underneath like it's a live object. That is actually the idea. I want it to look like a crest, you know. So now let's design the bread loaf by Let's design it by adding a 3D value to it too. Let's go to 3D shape, and automatically when we enable it, it will assume a 3D shape, but we don't want all that depth, so we just remove the depth, right? Isn't that? We don't want that. It's making it look somehow. Let's just disable it and let it be. No, what is this? No, no, not here. Here. Let's disable it. Click OK. Okay, what we just want to do here is add shadow so that it look a bit, so that it looks more lively. Yes. Now in this case, we are not going to let this shadow to be that blur for this one. We want the shadow lines to appear, but we don't want it to distort our image. Now what do we do? Let's offset it a little. Yes. So offset it a little, and then offset it also downward. Yes. That is just it. That is perfect. That is what we want to do here. Yes. Yes. Then we want to reduce the size of that image also. Let it not be too bold at the center there. So we go to the relative size and we drop the size to, is it 39? Let's drop it to 40. Yes, I want 40. 40 is good. Let's centralize it again and see if it's going to sit well. Yes, yes, yes. So now we have what we want. Our shape is coming into, our logo is coming into shape, right? Okay. Now let's ensure that we pin these jobs together. Now that I'm done with this effect, I want to match both the bread loaf and the shape together. So what do? I go over to the layer section and then merge them by clicking this button. Select both of them and then hit on the merge button and click OK. And automatically both shapes will be merged into one. So we now have our shapes merged. Let's see what is happening here. Yes, our shape has been merged. You can see that. Wow, this now looks lovely, isn't it? Our shape is now merged. Now we want to reduce the size. Of course, we don't want it to fill the whole of our page or our screen. So let's centralize. Let's bring it to the middle. Yes, that's okay. Now that we have that done, what do we want to do next? We now want to apply the writings, the text. So let's go over to text and start imputing our text. Mona's loaf. Capital letter M, Mona's. Okay, Mona's loaf. Okay. Let's bring that. Let's take this up here so that we can see what to type from it. Yes. Let's bring Mona's loaf here. Okay. Let's in a taste of its own, copy this, go to copy it, and then edit, impute the text in a taste. In a taste of its own into this. After typing that, let's bring it into a place where it's supposed to be. We're going to increase them. We're going to work on them too. We're going to design them. Then the details of the business: bread, cake, small shops, snacks, and many more. Okay, let's start. Let's copy Mona's loaf and then hit that by editing it. Bread, we have bread. Let's give space, space. Okay, we'll do something about that after typing what we want to put in there. The next word is cake, right? Bread. cake. Mm-hmm. Space, space, space. We want the next to be what? Okay, the next is going to be snack, small chops. Then we have snacks, right? We have snacks. No, snacks. Okay, the next will be many more. Okay, now let's take out those full stop signs. Okay, let's ensure that the space in between are the same. Okay, these are the same. Okay, and then we'll bring it down here. Don't worry, after resizing, we're going to drag it into a straight line. The next is the address, right? Let's copy. Let's copy Monaslow, 3rd Avenue, 3rd Ave, Warimpa, Abuja, FCT. That's the address. Gotten the address, and the next is the phone number. Copy, edit, and impute the phone number. Phone number 08026048395. Okay, so we have input all our text. What do we need to do next now is to design them. Now, this Mona's loaf from our sample image, you can see that um, that font is fanciful. Yes, and we have to increase the the text itself. But before we increase, let's add the font first. So let's go to font. Let's go to font and select the font. Unfortunately, the font I use there is is a font that I imported into Pixellab. Remember, I told you that I will be creating I will be creating a video for how to install and import fonts into your Pixellab. Please bear with me. So for now, you can just select whatever fonts that work for you, and then we will impute it into the Pixellab app. Use that for for those that do not have the font. You can use this Alex brush. It's a default Pixellab font. You can use it Alex brush regular. Just increase it. Let's use that for the sake of this tutorial. Except that my design won't be the same. Just use the Alex brush for your own design. I'm going to use the font I use for that to ensure that we have the same things for the purpose of this tutorial. But you can select whatever font that is available. Use your sense of aestheticism to ensure that it looks beautiful. Trust me, the moment you have gotten the right thing, you will know. All right, so we'll have to increase Mona's loaf, increase the size to, let's see what the size is now. The size is 60. Let's use 80 so that it will be bold, or 90. I think 90 will be good. Let's use 90. Let's centralize it for now. Okay, and ensure we position it correctly. I just hope that It's not going to take up a whole lot of space. Okay. The next text. Okay, no, let's be done with, let's pin it into place first. Yes. And then highlight it and apply its color, and let's be done with it once and for all. But if you look at that text, you'll find that the sample image color is the same as the logo itself, the shape itself. So let's import that color texture from our gallery, or again for Mona, into Mona. So we go to the texture and import it, click on it, and then import it into Mona here. Now we have our text. Yes, good. Now the next thing we want to do is add shadow to it, but don't worry, we'll just add the shadow all around to them when we are done. No, let's okay, okay, good. Let's add 3D to it. 3D text. Do we need that? Do we really need this? Do we need this? No, let's ignore that. Let's go to the next text, which is in a taste of its own. For that text, let's go to the font and select the text for it. I think that text is Nevis, so click on Nevis. Yeah, that's it. Yes, and then we're going to reduce it so that it balances as it is in the sample image balancing. So let's reduce it to 36. Let's do 30. Let's do 40. Yes, 40 will be fine. 40 is fine. So let's position it at the center. Let's bring it to the middle. Yes, that's it. Okay, and position it. Let's drop this so that carefully bring it into place. Yes, that is good. That is good. Now, if you look at that text, its color, let's impute its own color. It's just a gold color from Pixellab. Go to your Pixellab, search on the row, you'll find the gold color. Mine is here, so just click on it and that's it. Now, if you look at that text, there is the image text here. Let's drop this. Let's bring the image to the front so that we can see what we're doing with it more, since we are not working on the shape. Okay, let's bring it to the front so that we can see it. So when we expand it, you will find that the inner taste of its own seems to have a little black line over it. I know it does, so we're going to add that line to it here by adding stroke to it. You remember stroke, the stroke tool? Let's go to the stroke tool and add the stroke to it by enabling it. Now the default stroke is okay. Let's see this. Okay, I think we'll make the stroke. Let's add the stroke. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 is good. So let's leave it at 4. Let's give it a value of 4 so that it be a little bold. Yes. So the next, now we're done with that, right? Let's pin it into place and then go on to the next text, which is the detail text. Okay, that's it. Now we're going to use the same Nevis font for all of them so that we don't our design doesn't get messed up with too many different fonts. So let's go to font again and change it to Nevis. Scroll down to Nevis and apply. Apply Nevis to it. I think it's applied. Then okay. Now we need to resize it so that we can have all that details within our screen. Let's drop it. Let's try 40. Let's drag it into shape first. Let's centralize it and then see how it looks. Look way, way, way out of place, right? But that's the way it looks here too. Let's bring it down a little bit. Okay, now let's apply the color to it. The color applied to the shape is white. Our background is white. So let's change the background again. Let's change it back to yellow since we have already applied the color to the image. Let's take it back to what it looks before. Yes. Good. So that it's visible. We can see whatever we're doing. Now let's change that color, the text color here. Let's change the text color to white. Right? Search for white and impute white. Too harsh, right? The yellow color background is still not making our text colors visible, especially for the white. So probably let's change the color, the font. You can play around with those backgrounds, get a color that will not be harsh to your eyes, probably something like navy blue, and apply it to it. See, it's more visible now than it was before. Now having applied the white color to our detail text, let's mark it into place, right? Let's position it very well so that the line in between is not, will be appropriate or will be okay. Let's make it good. Apply the right space to it, and then that's it. Okay, let's go to the next text, which is the address text, and do the same process all over again. Apply the same process all over again by changing the font to Nevis. Resizing the text to 40, applying the white color to it, and then centralizing it, then pin it after giving it the right position. Okay, it's okay like this, so let's just pin it up and go to the next, which is the last text object here, and then do the same process, apply the same process all over again by changing the font, resizing it, applying color, and then positioning it. Nevis. I keep doing that. Nevis. Okay. Resize. Apply 40 to it. Value of 40. Okay. Centralize. Position into place. Move into the right position. Yes, that's okay. And then change the color to white. And there you have it. We now have all our text in place, right? Now have all our text in place. Okay. Anyways, not to worry. Let's drag them down a bit so that they won't be choked up together in the same place. Yeah. Okay. The next one is locked into place, so we highlight it here and move it down into position. Right. Go to the layer section, move the next one. But before that, let's move this into its position. Okay. And then assign the right position to it. Remember, I told you that once you get it right, you will know, wow, this is better now. Okay. The next thing we want to do, if you look at our our sample image, you discover that uh, the phone call and WhatsApp icons are still not in our own design. So let's go and apply them by going to the folder you have them on in your phone gallery and import them in. Now I have both of them here. So I simply select them. Now, this is what I want to show you. Remember, in our sample image, the icons are round instead of square, in square shape. So how do we make it round? Instead of going to resize it in the screen, in our design, we can just do that quickly here by clicking on this round button at the right side of our screen down here, and then adjust adjust the size the way we want it to be. Okay, just the size the way we want it to be by making it round the icon. That is okay. I think I want this icon on this side, so I'll click here. Yeah, that's okay. Oh no, yes. So we have it looking nicely. You can see that. So let's import the WhatsApp icon also. Then we size them up into shape and add them to our design. This is good. Is it? Let's bring this down a little bit. No, this is it. Let's shape it into. Now all we just need to do is bring it down. Let's go to the size image sizing tool, which is the relative size 67. Let's bring it down to like 3 or 4. Remember, we want it as tiny as possible. Okay, it's 5. It is 5. Okay, that is okay. Let's do the same to this one too by using the same. Drop it down. Let's increase it to 5. Yes. Okay, let's bring them into position. Increase the value so that it will come down fast. Okay, let's position this one here first. Let's adjust it back to 1 so that we can now be precise with positioning it. All right, that's good. Let's do this to the second icon, the WhatsApp icon, by moving it into position 2, right? Okay, reduce the value and moving into position precisely. So that is it. Wow. Isn't this lovely? Our logo is ready, right? Our logo is ready. Now we want our fonts to have shadows of their own, right? So what do we do? Now, I want you to know something. For others, when they are designing their flyers and whatever, they like to just be done with it before they save their job, their job for edition later. But for me, I like to do it the moment I've imported or imputed my text. The reason is because sometimes instead of going to apply shadows to them, especially when it's going to be on the same to the same degree, I rather just have all of them, just merge all the text together and then apply my shadows to them. So what I do here is I will go over, but before I do that, let me lock my number into place, lock all these icons into place. Now, if you notice, the the phone number is the same colors as the text in the text of its own. So let's quickly apply the color to it, good color to it, and add the stroke to it also, so that it can look, it can be more good. This is good. That's it. So now I can save my project. So if I make a mistake with this job, I can always go back to the saved file and then continue, correct the job and update it again. So save as project. Let's add Mona logo and click OK. So that is done. Now I want to merge my text and then apply the same shadow to all of them once and for all, since they are all to the same degree, instead of applying it singularly. So what I just do is click on this icon, select all my text the way they are, and merge them. And that is it. Now my texts are selected. Now you see there's no difference. The difference is because I've selected all my text together, I can no longer use the text option on them. They are now like a shape now, right? Because they are moving all about. Oh, I did not click. I didn't merge the, let's merge that text with the icons also, so that everything will be in place, will be together. Since we're not changing color again. All right. No, I don't want that. Go back. Let it be like this. Let's go back to the text. Let's add the shadow to the text. Before we do that, let's centralize it to ensure that it is the way we want it to be, or bring it into positioning the way it was before. Let's do that here. Okay, centralize. We just have to leave it that way. And then we'll adjust our icon, WhatsApp icon, to the right so that it fits him into the design. Let's do that this way. No, I think that's okay. Yes, fine. Later we'll centralize our image up here to ensure that everything is centralized. Now let's lock this into place. Good, so that it doesn't move about. And then let's add the shadow effect to it by going to the shadow tool, apply the same effect the way we applied it to the image itself, I mean to the shape, and then okay. Now let's work on the shadow. You can see the shadow is blur to a value of 10. A value of 10, let's drop it so that it doesn't distort our text. We'll come back to adjusting it, but first of all, let's offset it to the left. Image to the left. Now, I want this to look like it is not directly on the wall. That's why I'm applying image under it. Else, if you feel you don't need that, especially when you're designing your logo, there is no need for you to do it. I'm saying this because we are designing with a smartphone. So you add these values to each while you're designing them, so that when you're printing or maybe you want to mock them up, you don't need to start doing all that all over. So, and I want you to see how it looks real, like as if we didn't use vector files to create this logo. Remember, we download PNG files to download this, to create this logo. All right, then we give a value to the Y offset here, and then We don't want it to be too much or too visible. We just want the effect to just be like that under it, to make it look like it's not directly. Well, this is good. This is good. That is good. So now we are done with our text shadow effect, and then we go to the icons and do the same thing quickly. Add the WhatsApps, add it to the WhatsApp too. Not too much, not too much. Good. Not too much. Good. Reduce the blur. Good. Take it back in. Not more than 3. Take it back in. Now good. 4, 3. Let's do the same to the phone call icon. 3. Good. Okay, good. Right. Let's reduce the blur. Let's see how it looks. Perfect. Our job here is done. So we now have our logo the way it is here. So this is how you this is the second stage of the logo creation process. This is how you put your logo together and design amazing logos. All right. Now, what do we do next? All we just need to do, if this is considered to be your 2D logo, though I have added effects to it, so automatically it's a 3D logo now, but this is how your logo looks. If you want to save it, you can just come here, probably merge them all, okay, and then save. And then, yes, merge them all and then save. So let's merge them all. Wow, our logo is now merged. See, it's movable, right? Wow, our logo is ready, irrespective of the background. Remember, at the end of the day, we're going to remove the background because as a logo, it has to be transparent. Now, this is the way it is. Now, if you're going to give your clients, after creating their logo and you want to pass it over to them, you want to present it to them. For them to actually see the beauty of your logo, you have to make the presentation in a way it will look lively and well presentable. And that is why these days you see a lot of mock-ups. It's called mock-ups, fancy backgrounds added to logos to bring out the beauty of those logos, to emphasize on the details of those logos and all. Like our sample image, you can see that the background is is a fancy image, not just a plain background like we have here on the logo we created, this blue background here. So what do we do? Though you can see that our background, our sample image, and the logo we just created are looking the same, but there's a few things that are missing here. And what do we do about that? That is what brings us to the third stage of our logo creation. That is the presentation. How do you, now the process of you adding the right, a fancy background to your logo, either manually or automatically using Photoshop, is what is called mocking up of logos. You understand? You mock them up by in these backgrounds to highlight the, the logos to give them a very presentable look, and that is what you present to your client to see if he has actually, if what you have created is actually what he wanted and all. Remember, when you're done, you always save these works as save as projects to your file, so that it should, in case if after designing it like this and then your client says, okay, I want this color to be applied to the so part, I want so part to have more details or so, you can always come back to your saved file and edit them accordingly to the way your clients want it. But first of all, you have to be done with the three stages of the process of creating it and presenting it to your clients. Now we are done. Remember, we the first stage was inspiration. The second stage is the actual creation, designing of the logo, which is what we have just done here. Now we will be moving on into the third stage. We're moving on to the third stage where we will mock up our logo for presentation. The next thing we want to do is to go to the third stage of our logo creation, which is presentation. How do we want to present this logo to the client? We cannot start bringing this logo this way to the client at the first instance. Once the client sees this logo that we have created, they may probably not be comfortable with the looks, or they won't understand the job, because the job is not it's looking more technical than beautiful, Now, to present it in a way that the client will understand what you have done and to see the effect, to get the right effect response from your client, all you just need to do is to mock up. So let's move over to mocking up this, to the third stage of this logo creation, which is mocking it up for presentation. Now, what do? We go over to our gallery and then we import that fanciful background, which is our mockup, and then apply the 1:1 ratio here and move it to the right part which is brighter, and then click OK. You see it is integrated. It has been incorporated into our screen. Now, what do we need to do next? We expand it to cover the entirety of our screen. Okay, expand it, and then we centralize it by using the relative position button and centralize it, the usual way we do, and lock it into place so that it doesn't move. Remember now, if you look here at the layer section, you find that the layer for the mockup background is on top of the layer for our logo. So our logo is underneath the layer now, and all we need to do is to move this uh, mock-up background to the back and bring our logo layer up to the front. So we can do that by clicking onto back, and you see it is now moved to the top now here. Now, remember, after this, during the second stage of this logo creation, which is the putting together of the logo, the designing of the logo, once we were done, we now saved it as a PNG format into our gallery. That is the technical logo that we were ought to work on, and we have successfully created our logo at that point. What we're doing now is we're working on how to make it fanciful and then present it to our client. Now, so this is the point where you want to apply different effects to ensure that it is presentable and it laps into this mock-up background. So essentially, basically, we are mocking up this logo right now. So what do? We don't want it to be this all over the screen. So what do? We just simply reduce the size here, and to an appropriate size that will be okay for mock-up. I think this size is okay. So the next thing we want to do is let's open the layer. Let's bring back our sample image so that we can compare what we're doing to what is on it. This is the sample image. Let's bring it in. Now, this is our sample image. So you see, the similarity is gradually coming out. But what we need to do, if we look at our sample image, it's a bit brighter and more colorful than our logo. So what do? And it is not directly centralized, but it's lying on the background at an angle, so we need to do the same thing to our logo here. Let's reduce this out of sight and then place it here and then work on. We can do this by going to the color filters or adjustment tool here. Click on it And then we have all our adjusters here. We have the hue, the saturation, brightness, and contrast. Now, we don't want to tamper with the hue. The hue deals with the, it changes the color entirely into different values and colors. Okay, so we don't want to temper it. We take it back to zero. Now the saturation increases more color. You can see it gives it more color beyond what you have applied, or it changes it to, it removes all the color. But we want the color to be as it is, the way we applied it, so we take it back to zero. Now, the brightness, of course, increases the brightness or reduces it. It increases it or it reduces it, of course. And the contrast makes it, we don't want it, we want it to be the way it is for now. And then the contrast, this is what the contrast does. Just like the same principle, the same way it works with anything that has color adjustment. Whenever you're applying colors, you know, whatever that has to do with color filter is the same, works basically the same way. You see, it makes it sharper or light, you know, you get the concept. Now let's return them all and then mock our, adjust the color the way we want them. So everything is back to zero. All the values are back to zero. Now we don't need to change the hue or the color. We don't need to increase the color. We don't, okay, we want it to be bright. So we increase the brightness. Okay, like this. All right, let's leave the brightness like this and then let's add contrast. Let's leave this contrast at 40. Then let's reduce this our brightness a bit. Yes, it's too sharp. We'll still have to reduce this contrast to like 30. However, whatever works for you, whichever color you feel is better for you, you can do it like that. And so basically you get the idea, right? So we're getting something as the same as our image there now. Yes, we want it, our color, to still retain that gravy bread uh, look in it. So I think this is okay for us. Well, now that we've applied the filters and adjust our color the way we want it, you can see it has the same, almost the same, is the same, similar to what we have in the sample image, right? Now, the next thing we want to do, we want to adjust the angle and blend it into our wallpaper. Make it looks like as if it's resting on it, but not directly placed on it. Let's reduce it a bit. Okay. Let's go to 3D and rotate it the way we want it. Right? So let's go to 3D. Let's rotate. Add this to it. We don't want depth to this. We don't want obliques. Don't want depth. So all we just want to do, cancel it out. Right? Or leave it. Let's use the 3D rotate here. Right? So all we want to do, want to rotate it this way. No, turn it this way. Yes, this way is good. All right. And then, yes, rest it this way, isn't it? Not total, not too much. Yes. Give it a Z value. Let's look at the image here. Okay. We'll still come to adjust it. Do something here. don't need that. It's not, all this won't function on it. We just need to turn the Z value. Let's, no, for our image, let's do that to our image. I don't want the depth, like we said earlier. Don't want the depth. We just want to add the rotation value. Let's add the rotation value for Z so that it doesn't look like, yes, no, yes, okay, let's rotate, no, okay, let's rotate, okay, reduce a little bit, bring to center, and so you keep adjusting until it looks good, right? Let's make this side look farther from it. Yes, better. And then something like this. Now, if you notice the shadow we added before, it's not really showing. So what do we do? It's too out of sync the way I want it. Okay, let's go back and let's go back, add the rotate, the x-axis. No, we want to affect this. Yes, let it not sync out of place. Yes, 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 a little but not much. Yes, then not too much. I think 11 is okay. Let's leave it for now. Now, if you notice, the shadow we added when we were adding effect is not too visible under the Moko effect. So we still go ahead to add more shadow to this. Okay, so let's offset the shadow this way. Oh no, sorry. Applying it, we need to apply it on our logo. Yeah. Yes. So our shadow now will reduce the blur, move the shadow out of here. No, reduce. Okay. So that it doesn't look like it's directly sitting on top of our image. No. Little. This has to go in a bit. All right. Yes. Let's go to that color filter and increase brightness a little bit. No. And this. Increase brightness a little bit. Yes. So that our work doesn't look too much colorful. Now, isn't that beautiful? Yes. Now we have the same effect as our sample job here. We have the same result as our sample job. So you see that we have achieved the same thing we want to do, we did with our sample job. See? Yes. So this is what you do to mock up your images. Now there are different backgrounds and different means you can do with it. So when what you just basically do, that's why whenever you want to create your images or your logos, you go online, get inspirations. As you're practicing this, you will get to be able to do more with it. All right. So you see, it's all about increasing color, increasing visibility, you understand, adjusting, giving the right values to what you apply. Now, you can see I'm trying to reduce our work. So you see, now we have the same thing placed side by side, and you can see that we have achieved our goal of creating a logo. How do you feel about this? I am sure you are so happy to have been part of this tutorial session for logo design. I am sure that you would not, you can't wait to start monetizing this skill. I tell you, it's money spinner. It's a money spinner. Graphic design, logo creation. You cannot be wrong with it. In the course of this tutorial, in the course of this tutorial, we will be I will be showing you how to monetize all these skills so that you can start earning on your own. All right? So stay tuned for more of this tutorial, for more informations coming your way about this, what we are going to do with this tutorial. Now that we are done with this, I want you to do the same thing, apply, follow the same concept, do yours, and submit. Also, on our assignment outlines, you will find the assignment to create certain logos. I want you to do them all and submit. Thank you. I will see you in the next video.